Hello, everybody. Buddy with Midland, Texas. Got a little interesting story for you today. Here in Midland, we had a sheriff that was famous, Sheriff Gary Painter. He was a Vietnam veteran, hired on with DPS, worked down there by the border, Presidio, border of Mexico. And then he come to Midland Police, and then he went to work for the Sheriff's Department. He was one of the longest running sheriffs in the state of Texas, 34 years or something, I think, when he died. Well, there's an interesting story about Sheriff Painter and the underground homes. Okay, as I've said many times, I've documented multiple people saying there's underground homes here with many details, and one of them was a guy that was running for sheriff. I secretly recorded him, and he told me, Joe Lozano told me, that the underground homes was the hideout for Sheriff Painter. Okay, and I believe that to be true. That's where the oil show parties were going. I think that's absolutely true. So I'm gonna show you some pics here. Here's another pic. This is Painter with George Bush, and it was said that the Bushes is who the underground facilities were put in for. Okay, so I found that one online. And also interesting, the second police officer that showed up at my house right here after I was shot with my phone lines cut was Mike Naylor from the Sheriff's Department. He worked for Painter at the time. Okay, he was following the Martin County Sheriff, John Woodward, and they were the first to arrive at my house without being dispatched. Their names missing from the police report. Okay. And here I want to show you again. And then Naylor was killed in 2014 during the line of duty with a stolen gun. That's kind of suspicious. At the time, I had a reward offered for his identity as one of the secret police. Okay, now Joe Lozano, who was running for sheriff, as I said, after the election, he was arrested, and I believe he was framed myself. You know, I think, and I believe he was framed because he let out the secret of the underground homes. Okay, and because I had recorded him and made it into a video which went viral. But as you'll see there, it says in 2020, Lozano ran for sheriff against Rory McKinney, Tom Hain, and David Criner, and Criner won. This recording, it was never made public. It was hidden by the police and the press. Okay, that's what happened. Okay, and so, and it says, and it wasn't the first time he's arrested, because what they were talking about is that Joe Lozano was arrested on the famous Healing Touch massage parlor case over in Odessa. Okay, and this was a big trafficking case that was so big that it made, they made a movie out of this. And there was a lot of important people that got busted in this massage parlor, okay, bust. And like here, an attorney, Scott Tidwell, he was one of the ones in there, okay. Here, a district attorney was one of the ones. And let's see. An Artesia man, and that's kind of interesting too. Gene Powell, assistant managing editor of the Odessa American, was among those that were arrested. Prominent rancher James Bush Ratcliffe Hertz, Vince Vine, owner of Odessa Insurance Company, Sidney Ingram, owner of M&M Elevator. It was like 61, but one of them was Joe Lozano, and I think that's how Joe knew what was going on in the underground homes. Does that make sense? Okay. Here's the movie in 2010 that was made out of that bust over in Odessa. It was called The Client List, and it had Jennifer Love Hewitt in it. And like, that's how famous that was. Okay. Now I'm going to let you listen to this recording where I'm talking to Joe, and here's what he says. He don't know I'm recording him.
A woman named Rhonda Denman Rogers tells me that the underground facility is a half block away, and I also have a screenshot of this statement. She didn't say it was 1.5 blocks, so she knew exactly where it was at.
Hey, buddy.
Yeah, huh?
Buddy, that was Painter's hideout thing.
That was Painter's hideout thing. That's what he said. And he was talking about the underground homes, okay? And here right there is from Google Maps, where I believe one of the 4 underground homes is located in my backyard. Another woman told me that there was 4 3-bedroom underground homes, they're at least 25 foot deep, each costing over $1 million a piece, and they were having pizza parties down there, if you know what that means, okay? And Another woman said, go look up your home on Google Maps. So I did. And here in the backyard was a large bunker in my backyard that you couldn't see from above ground. I told the city of Midland about it and it got deleted from Google. Okay. That was another person. Okay. Here's Tisha Brumley that says, I've had friends been involved in those oil show parties. They're exactly what you say. They are in the underground homes, And then Jessica Lee Hadley tells me, says, I've been to 2,000 oil field shows. I tell you what, there's more than just that one girl that was murdered or raped because she didn't do whatever they wanted her to do, And I'm going to tell you one last story of this woman here. And she was telling me the story. She says, I was a former escort and I went to almost every oil show party in Midland, Odessa from 2008, 2019. And I was telling her, my friend Angie was leaving my home and at the parties in 2010 and we talked on the phone when she drove there. I believe they were at the Home Depot store. She went in that store, went underground, and come back to my home via that tunnel I found on Google Earth Maps. Okay. And I said, I knew they were 5 minutes from my home because we were talking on the phone. This was before I found out there's underground home in the backyard. She was the one that told me about the young girl that was murdered that year at the oil show parties. Okay. And she says, yes, I believe it. I was 16 to 17 at the time, and they would prefer us younger girls other than the older women. And yes, it's crazy. And then I told her, I said, at 11 p.m. each night, Angie would put me on hold and go get her peel. That's how I knew they were drugging the women and girls there. And she says, yes, it's true. That's where I got confirmation of that. So now you know the other story here about our famous sheriff. And possibly, that's how you can have so much evidence. And one guy saying there's 4 murders here, proof of the murder attempt on my life. And we have no arrests and no news stories. It's lawlessness. But anyway, Midland, Texas.